Good. I'm very good. I'm always very good until I wake up and turn on the news.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know what? I've been given advice to stop, like, just get off social media, but I can't help it. I need it to get the word out, but I can't avoid what the other stuff that's on there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's horrific, just horrific what's happening. And I'm dying to hear from you guys. And who else is going to be on the show?
We have Gary. He's from Corrections One. He's also affiliated with Police One as well. Gary, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Very good,
I
Gary.
want to thank you very much for your video you did, the blues. I shared it out on my YouTube, and I'm a retired corrections officer, 28 years, 10 years Army before that, and I write articles for Corrections One. So we'll get the word out and get your video out.
Did you get to see the other video I did, the first one, just
Yes.
a common soldier?
Oh no, I have not.
That you have to see, because that I did about 5 years ago, and that has 30 million views.
Well, I'm going to have to check that out. I was in the Army 10 years before my.
Well, you're gonna love this
career. I'm
because
definitely going to get on that one.
it also received 2 Emmys, and it is something I'm extremely proud of. You know, the blues, I had to get it out right away because of the circumstances.
Right.
But the Just a Common Soldier, you go to justacommonsoldier.com and it will come up, and on YouTube. And I did. It's a 5-minute, full-blown, beautifully produced video.
Perfect timing
with,
right now.
with pictures and everything else in the background and so on and so forth. And I didn't have a chance to timing to do this one, the blues. So it's just me talking. But I think and the other one I didn't write. This one I wrote. The blues I wrote. But the other one is I'm extremely proud of both of them. But take a look
I
at
will
that.
I will definitely not only look at it, but I'm going to share that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Gary. When we're done, I will send you the link as well. I did watch it, Tony, and it was fantastic. It's very touching, as well as the blues. I didn't know that you wrote that yourself. That was pretty impressive because it was very, very, very well thought out. And you mentioned that it was done on short notice.
Yeah. Well, we did it on short notice as far as filming it, videoing it. But the writing of it, I've been doing it for a while, and I put it down. But now it got to be, I had to do it right away because of the circumstances, and then I rewrote it. I have about, I would say, 15 rewrites at least on it, because my poor wife, every time I come up with another thought, it's like, I got to change this, I got to change that, I got to, you know how it is, and so you keep doing it,
Absolutely. With writing, it goes the same. And I remember in high school when I started writing, I was like, could I just write a masterpiece just by luck the first chance? And that'll never happen. It takes editing after editing after editing, and that's really 90% of the work is editing, and 10% is the actual writing.
Yeah, and rewriting. I mean, I do a one-man show on Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia, and I've been doing that for years on end, and in fact we did it for PBS and received 5 Emmys for that as well. And so, but I've been rewriting that for years on end, until, even this morning I got an idea of how to put something else in the show, And another thing I wrote, which is a thing about my life growing up in Brooklyn as a kid, and the change in life, of what we're dealing with now.
Sure.
And circumstances, yeah.
Now, I see, obviously, you have a strong support for the law enforcement and military community. Where did that come from? Like, how was that part of you?
Common sense, logically, and from just watching history and knowing what they've gone through, and I guess growing up at the right time to appreciate what the military has done, and the police, of course. I was greatly interested in that when I got into acting, because of my good friend Sonny Grasso, the first grade detective in The French Connection, and I was out on many calls with the boys and answered, I was on murders and and rapes and everything you could imagine, suicides, kidnappings. And I went out and I see what they go through. During the Black Panther time in Harlem,
Yeah, that was before my time, but the history is quite shocking, especially in the '60s.
Yeah, exactly. '60s, '70s, all around that time when the violence was tremendous. Not like it is now. It's a different kind of violence. Now it's a government takeover. Now,
right. And it's almost unbelievable to watch some of these cities.
Yeah.
I did see an article this morning that the Trump administration are pressing those cities to justify their defunding plan and to make sure they're not misappropriating the federal assistance that they're receiving. So at least there is some accountability.
Yeah, he's not going to give them money for not protecting their city, and they're Democratic. Each one of them are democratically run by mayors and governors for all this time and for many years, and all of them, as a matter of fact, are all democratic cities that have these problems, and just let it alone. He's not making it up, folks. If someone would listen and realize that what he is saying are facts in terms of where the problems lie and what. So I don't think any Republicans or conservatives are burning down businesses and so on. I don't believe that's true. As much as the other side likes to accuse the other side of exactly what they're doing. It's the Saul Lewinsky thing, and also what socialist communists do. Anyway.
Sure, Gary, did you want to chime in? I didn't want to take any questions from you.
No, I just wanted to say, you answered one of my questions. One of my questions to you was going to be, did you actually work with real police officers before playing your parts in The French Connection? And you played in a lot of crime series, and you answered that question for me. Now, there's one thing I wanted to ask you. We live in a time, as you just said, when many people on one side are against the police, against all first responders in some cases. What words of encouragement would you give our first responders to hang in there?
Yeah, that's a big one, because I wish I had a solution. I wish I could honestly say it's going to get better. I don't think it is, as a matter of fact, no matter who gets elected. And I hope and wish and pray that they do hang in there. But as you see, what's happening, I'm sorry, I'm not answering your question, but what I'm seeing realistically, what's happening,
Correct.
when what they want to do is get rid of the police and put in their own law enforcement, you see? And every time the mayors in those cities handcuff the police are frustrated and are retiring and do not want to do the job. And guess who that benefits? The people who want to replace them. So it's a losing strategy to leave, because it means they're winning and giving up. And they will replace them with their own kind, whoever that is. And as we always do, lower the standard, make the lower standard come in so that they can now take over and be the police that they want to be. And that's been happening in everything, hasn't it? It's been happening in politics. It's been happening in our television. It's been happening on everything you see. We are, as they wish, they call the word reform. They want the police to be reformed. You know who should be reformed? The people. The people should be reformed to learn respect for authority and law enforcement and the laws. That's where they have to be reformed. It's difficult in a free society. When you give people freedom, you're asking for trouble, because the idea is you without history, not understanding what it means, you are now free, as they believe, to do what you want to do. And that includes, If the cops are coming and they blame the cops now for causing the violence, because the mentality is that if you're stopping their freedom to, quote, protest or do what they want or break rules of, you're infringing their freedom. So you are now the blame. I mean, they've got it so warped. No, you asked me to encouragement. I'm just, the way I am devoted to finding some kind of a solution or healing or so on and so forth. And I'm not doing a very good job of healing. Because I'm stating the facts and the intention of the other side. The other side wants to redo America, period. Redo America in their image, whatever that image that they think that is. So how do you overcome that ideology? How do you talk to a group to say, because anything I say or you say or the president says or anybody says who has a bit of common sense and logic and will follow the law is the enemy. Is the opposite, opposing enemy that will stop their revolution. This is war, unfortunately. And I wish, I keep writing looking for solutions. I've written something about this, but it always comes down to, I feel like I'm talking to only the chorus, so to our own people, who understand these things. The other side, and I say the other side, I'm talking about half of the country. It doesn't. I mean, Mayor de Blasio has a pretty good rating in New York. I don't know if you saw that in the newspaper yesterday. They rated, what do you think of how kind of a job you think he's doing? People said he's doing fine. Like 40-something%. I mean, you can't make that stuff up. So I don't know. I think as far as hanging in there, I don't think we can give up the fight. As I am tortured, as you are every morning, every day, I am so involved in this situation. This is all I think about. I'm driving my wife crazy. This is all I talk about. This is all I deal with. Forget about acting, forget about junk, all that stuff. It's beside the point. It's the job I do. What I am as a human is I care about our country. I care about the United States of America, and how to heal this wound, and logic, as I say. I just to keep them hanging in there. I know it's extremely difficult when the authority won't let you do your job, and you're getting abused and you're getting tormented and all the things I said in the video, and more, much heck of a lot more. It's got to be so frustrating and so miserable for them. They want to stay home. They don't want to get involved in this stuff, and they want to retire. Well, I understand that, but the end of that is you lost. You gave up.
Now, how do you feel? How do you feel that media plays a role in all this? Because I know they can be polarizing. They seem to be part of the solution.
Oh my goodness! You could write whatever I have to say down. I know it's in everybody's logical mind. And obvious, nobody's making that up either. You look at the Times, you look at all the newspapers, and all except for the Post, New York Post, and Fox, and One American News. Those are, and then the rest of them are all. I mean, if you watch CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, they don't even report what's going on. They call it a protest. They're not even showing the fires and the thing. I've spoken to people in New York who say I'm crazy. There's no violence in New York. There's no. They think, what am I talking about? They don't watch. They don't see the footage. That's going on, flames and burning up, and this guy. Even the mayor of Wheeler in Portland, they burned his apartment house. He's looking for a new place to live. The Wheeler. It's astounding. It's astounding what's going on, and people don't even know what's happening.
He wrote that check himself, and I was actually in New York City a few weeks ago to go attend a rally, And towards the end of the rally, there were agitators there whose sole purpose was just to get in the face of cops and just yell at them, and with the camera in their hands and just saying, "I'll have this right to do that." They had no purpose other than to agitate
Sure, they want a cop. They want a cop to break the because they holler at them, they spit at them, whatever they do at them. They want the cop to make a move so they have it on film. And they're coming now with bats and guns and so on and so forth to combat what they think is an invasion of their freedom, and that's being done by the police from their mental. You see, so now they're coming now with their guns, and they're invoking violence. So that the cop the other day shot this kid, and they say he had a couple of guns on him or whatever. So each day you almost can't get away from it. And Black Lives Matter. If you go to their website, Black Lives Matter, you go and look at what is it called, blue something? There's a thing called blue something. I forget what it is. You go to that, you see where the money goes.
Okay.
You go to Black Lives Matter and look for blue something. I forget what blue. It isn't blue code. It's blue something.
Okay.
And so you see where the money goes. You see. It's a Marxist organization. They're not shy about it. They're not shy about saying that they're a Marxist organization and what their intention is. Their intention is to overthrow the government. And they see it's Black Lives Matter. When people talk about Chicago and they say, "Hey, don't those Black Lives matter?" Their answer basically is, that's not our job. What our job is, Black Lives Matter is about police killing black people. That's our job. That's what we're interested in investigating. So that's their mentality. Forget about all Black Lives Matter, not to them. At the moment, they're dealing with this subject matter, you see. And that's where the fight comes. That's where the fight comes there.
Yeah, I like to believe that there are a silent majority out there that aren't as vocal, that will make a difference come November.
Absolutely. I mean, the Middle America has to, Middle America, I hope they're seeing this. If they're seeing this, we're okay, because they'll, but I can't imagine that even in where I live in New York, where I was born in Brooklyn and lived in New York for all my life back, and I still live there. I also have another place in Maryland, but I'm back and forth where I've been because of the virus. I'm going to New York tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Why? But I have to take care of a few things. But what's happening there, and I'll see, I guess, firsthand. Not that I'm going to be wandering around the streets too much, but each and every moment is tragic. It's tragedy for the country. But I'm hoping the people in the middle of our country are watching. And I've said, I can't believe even the people in New York City, who are quite wealthy, can can allow this to happen. And what about the big boys? What about all the big companies that are supporting and giving millions of dollars to Black Lives Matter? How do you make that up? Because they don't understand. They're committing suicide. They're coming for them. They are the enemy. They're millionaires and billionaires. They hate them. They only want their money so they can either try to win an election or so on and so get supported. But they're coming for them. And why, if you're so smart, why don't you understand that? And look at all those people, those college kids who've been trained in university or even grammar school all the way up. Look what they've done. They're very well prepared. They have trained your children, my children, all the way up, way back where you changed the books, teaching them about nothing. They don't know history. They don't know math. They don't know anything. They don't know the basic rules. They don't know religion. They don't know their Pledge of Allegiance. So they've been trained all the way up and through college. All about, now they want to put Black Lives Matter into the university as a curriculum. I mean, you can't make these things up, and they do. Listen, there was a time. Think of this mentality. When in order to reach, and I hate, this is just an example. Listen, when the black folk were speaking Ebonics, you remember, the school system wanted to get teachers to teach them in Ebonics. You understand the mentality that is there, for rather than change and to speak English, they were then catering, lowering the system. So we've been on training like that for a long time, and now we're so caught up in it, very difficult to overcome, because now, if you talk anything like that, the big R word is screaming at you, racism, Excuse me. But I wish I could find, I'm trying to find each day, I try to find a solution and try to see how we can talk, and actions that would do that. And they asked Donald Trump, the president, what he would do to communicate with them. And he's done. He showed it what he did in 4 years. He's got them the best employment. You hear him every day talk about the same thing over and over and over again. They're facts. The lowest unemployment for blacks, highest employment for blacks, for women, for Latinos. He's done all that. Universities, the black colleges, he's given big money to them, and so they wouldn't go under. He's done all this stuff. It doesn't matter, apparently. Yeah. That's where we're at. We're at a mentality place where, what do you do about this cycle? They've been just trained. The kids have just been trained in school. You got to change the whole school system again, back to normal.
Now, I know the professional athletes, celebrities, and actors, they have a lot of influence on the youth. How do you feel about other celebrities and actors that push the anti-police sentiment?
Well, obviously, we disagree. I don't, I really don't know what to say. It's almost the same. It's almost the same thing I was saying. Believe me, they're coming for you. You can support them all you want, and if you live in a nice house and you have millions and from this and so on and so forth, they're coming for you too. So it has nothing to do with reality. They took down Abraham Lincoln's statue. What are they going to take down next? Martin Luther King?
Yeah, I think that just fell under the mob mentality. Like, I did a little bit of research on mob mentality, and you lose yourself and you just go along with the flow because you're not acting on your own identity. You just take the form of this mob, and there's no reasoning, there's no logic behind it. It's just one big wave that makes no sense. And unfortunately, it's starting to spill out into the streets of all the cities around the country.
They take down Abraham Lincoln. They take down George Washington. I mean, and they took down what's his name, the great black leader. Oh my God, he debated. I think he debated Lincoln. What's his name? I forget. One of the great leaders. They took him down too. Yeah.
Harry, did you have a question you want to jump in there?
Yes, I just want to, now, before we end, I do want to thank you very much for your video, The Blues. I've shared it everywhere. Thank you. And also the Common Soldier.
Yeah, just the Common Soldier.
Thank you for doing videos like that. The Common Soldier, I'll be getting that out on my social sites. And I also want to say something to you about a group of officers who stand behind the razor wire, behind the prison walls, thousands and thousands of men and women working with these hardened criminals to protect us, the society. They are also getting some of this. It's trickling into the prison system. if you ever get a chance to say anything to those folks, really appreciate it. What do you feel about our prison system? And now the prison reform is kicking in, which is part of all this that we're talking about. We're releasing people, we're letting them go right after they get arrested. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, it's the idea. I mean, people are sending in money. They get arrested, and people are sending in money, and they bail them out right away, same day almost. I just saw that they released a guy who killed two moms and admitted to raping them and what have you. They just released him yesterday, I guess it was. You know, the idea that they're letting people out with the excuse about the virus. Now, I would not do that at all. Why would I want to let them out into society if they're concerned that they might have it or spread it to the rest of the world? You know, put them in a particular place. If they have virus or you're afraid about them, give them masks and so on and so forth, just like you would do people. What are you letting them out for? And that's just one thing. But the idea of reducing people's sentences, yeah, there are some people that have been arrested. I mean, this lady that spoke of the RNC, you know, very fine woman. She spent tons of years in jail, 27, I think it was, years, and a very religious woman, a woman who's doing good for people, and so on and so forth. And they released her, and you could see she's a fine woman. But the idea of having people bail out, it's the judges, isn't it? It's the judges who are doing it. So when you find a judge that is not to your liking or is doing these kind of things, the only thing we have is a vote. And that's what we have to make sure. I mean, the president has appointed almost 300 new judges, you know, but every time, you know, you get a situation, look what the judge Sullivan did about Flynn. You know, he didn't follow any decorum, he didn't follow the law, didn't follow anything, and now Flynn is gonna have to get pardoned by the president rather than being exonerated as he should have been according to the law. But you know, so there is something wrong, something rotten in Denmark, sir. So that the idea of doing this, I am as horrified about that, letting criminals out on the street, as I am about everything that's going on here. And I wish those that are being accused are police officers. Everybody's coming to judgment before. Even the fellow who had his knee on the neck of Mr. Lloyd. That case, if you follow some of the tape and the video that you saw, when he was arrested, you know, and he took that tape behind the car, when he and the police officer went behind the car, there's tape on that from the other younger police officer's camera, and Floyd didn't want to get into the car at all. He said, you know, I'm claustrophobic. Okay, he's on drugs, as we know, you know, and so on and so forth, and so he didn't want to get so resisting that, and then he said, "Put me on the ground." So when he went on the ground, the knee on the neck in that state is a protocol. It's in the books. It's okay to do. It's not okay to kill him, and it's not okay to keep it on for 7 minutes, but it's supposed to be to render him unconscious, to control this fellow. Now, of course, he was handcuffed behind his back, so, you know, that's in no way justifying the fact that this man killed this man, you know, by doing that. But take a look at the law in the books in that state. That is one of the methods that the police use to subdue someone, to get control of him, by the knee on the neck. And unfortunately, as you know, it took too long and he killed him. But he had many other conditions that warranted that he died from. You know, I mean, he had a sickness, he had the drugs, he had whatever the heck he had. But that's going to be a fantastic case. First of all, I have no idea where he's going to get a fair jury. I mean, I can't imagine where he goes. He has to go out of the country maybe to get it. But there's going to be no jury that this man can have as a fair trial. But how about the other one that they're accusing, that the guy who stole his taser and ran down and turned around and shot him? What the, and was fighting with him, and what that's open and shut as far as I'm concerned. You know, we see it. We can't imagine all this, and we're having the benefit of film, of tape, so we see these things. You know, I don't know how many of these things happen without footage, but anyway, I ramble on, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you very much. Very informative, and I appreciate it.
No worries. I do understand the need for police reform as far as tactical. My only thing that I ask from politicians is that it be responsible and not cave into the pressures of politicians. And that's
Right.
my concern. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, they're talking about reform things like oh, you can't touch him this way. You can't grab him in a chokehold. Well, did you tell the perpetrator that the rules we're playing by? That you can't grab me in a chokehold if I'm not going to grab you. What are we talking about? You understand? Let's say, you know, the bad guys say you can't do it. No, I can only touch you by the wrist, or I can only escort you. I can't get it. And the other guy, the perpetrator said,
Gary and I can both attest to the criminal mindset. They have absolutely, you know, the worst of the worst have absolutely no concept of logic and reasoning. They just want what they want at the time, and it can be very dangerous. And that's what I think a lot of politicians don't understand, the average criminal mindset and how unpredictable and unreasonable it is.
I would think that a cop, every time a cop pulls a car over, whether it's a traffic violation or a speeding or whatever it is, I say he should draw his gun, and he should approach that car like, I don't know what's in there. I don't know where, you know. You got to teach the people where to put your hands when a cop pulls you over, and on the steering wheel. It used to be, to me, put them both out the window, and that's just the driver. I don't know who else is in the car. I don't know who's sitting in the passenger seat and if he's armed or not. So I'm a cop. I'm coming there with my gun handy, ready, even if it's, you know, I'm pulling a car over for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be on the alert, especially today.
I've always felt they should train and educate students once they get around driving age what you should do when you get pulled over, because it's a tense situation for everybody. Absolutely. It should be a part of anybody learning to drive. It should be respect for the law and what you do if a cop says this and that's, how you should respect it and how you should obey orders. You know, you should obey when a cop gives you a command. You do it. You know, you don't see the cop has a gun, and the cop is the law, and so when he says stop or freeze or pull over, you do it, and that's got to be taught immediately. Obey, you know, and that's always tough in a free society. Yeah, and my final question is, where would you like to see America in the coming months and years ahead?
Wow, I would certainly love for all this to go away, obviously, and for people to be able to communicate with them. You see, that's what's happened is the Frankenstein monster is still alive and well. When you create a monster, and I'll define what a monster is. A monster is not just a Frankenstein monster that you put pieces together and you make a human being. What you do is you create a robot. You create a screen, a movie screen. That is the Frankenstein monster that will eventually kill you. The robot will take your jobs away, and the screen will make you, as we're learning now. It's not an accident about this virus and about Amazon and so on and so on, how you can buy everything. You call up, or whatever you do, you say, send me this, send me food, send me this, send me. You never have to communicate with people anymore. Really communicate. You see, each of this, you put a mask on, nobody even sees who you are. and you just communicate the way we're communicating, through a screen, not flesh and blood. And that's the problem of where we are. There's no curing that, because that's not going away. It's only going to get worse. As you see, we don't have to go to school anymore. We're doing it over this. We don't have to do anything. We have to communicate over this. We're communicating with letters over the cell phone and it has no more doing with human beings. Human beings are, we're all trained. Now for 6 months, we're wearing masks. We don't even have to see each other. You understand? This is perfect for bank robbers. You just go in, you're wearing them. So the idea of what I would like to see, and what I understand, history, I understand the ball has been rolling down the hill, not up the hill. The ball rolls down the hill and picks up all the crap as we go along. There's all the thing and lands where we're at right now. All the 60s, the 50s, the 60s, all the way 70s, 80s, all the garbage. And here's who we are. In this school system, in this mentality, so much so that they want a socialist country. It's arrived. So what I would like to see? What I'd like to see is not going away, unless we have an internal war, which I'm afraid we're into right now. This is a civil war. I predicted this a long time ago, that we're going to have a civil war. You can't educate people that much. You can't give them just that much education. We tried, we're as stupid as we are. We try to do it with China. You understand? We thought, well, if we showed China how wonderful we are in terms of our freedom and they would change. So we gave them money, we treated them, and they have the biggest Navy fleet in the world right now, as I just reported yesterday. They become, they have 1,400,000,000 people. Yeah. Do you know what that means? That means that they can just keep doing what they're doing. They have the biggest Navy, they have the biggest army, they have the biggest this, and that's how you win. By threatening because of the power that you have. That's what we did. That's what we do. We're the power of the world. So it's a fight between us and Russia. It used to be. Now it's a fight between us and China and Russia. So China's not a fool. These people are not stupid. They say, let me get powerful. Let me have more nuclear this and then this. And then say to your enemy, whether it's the United States or anybody else, say, what are you going to do about it? Do you want me to stop something? Why? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You can't do anything about it when I have all the ammunition. And I'm now the dominant force. So what I would like to see is a reverse. However, it's not going to happen. We're just going to keep, now we're going to have to get bigger and stronger and so on. And China, with 1,400,000,000 people who they can't feed, that's why they're eating snakes and rats and whatever they're eating over there, you see? So they could afford 400,000,000 people to come fight a war for them against our 300,000,000. And they have the biggest military. They have all the people they want. Those are the facts, unfortunately. I'm not very inspirational in terms of giving hope and so on. I just think those are the things we have to wake up to. And that's what we have to deal with, that knowledge, and do something about that for the future. And so I'm sorry to go on, but I wish I had some happy news to tell you. I think the happiest news is that it's wake up, America. Wake up and see what's really going on. That's happy news for me. That's the way I deal. When I see a fight, I'm going to take the fight to you.
And the one slice of optimism that I'm holding on to is the more uncontrollable and the more disastrous some of these cities are turning in, the more evident it is for the need for police. How they reform it, as long as it's responsible and it makes sense, then I can understand that.
Sure, they can reform. You can always fix something. You can always make it better. You can always make the police better. You want to avoid this, but you got to always remember who the enemy is. The other side is not reforming.
Correct. And that's what I would like politicians to understand. I'm like, you're not dealing with reasonable people. You can't just give them instructions and stuff. That's
Right. They're not reforming the other side. The other side doesn't see that at all. They want the police to be reformed, not them.
They're going to be, and they will always be, opportunists. As soon as they see an opportunity, they're going to seize it. And then right now, the way it's going, they're provided with more than enough opportunity,
Right.
which will in turn, hopefully, show the rest of the country that, hey, we do need police because of this.
I only hope the rest of the country and those people that have some kind of history can see what history is. It's it's not a mystery. We're not living back then. We have all the history we can possibly need to understand what is happening, including socialism and communism and wars that we fought and so on, and get different governments. And I realize we're a young country, but young country, there are other countries that we can learn from. All the European countries, we can learn from those things. We're not isolatedly, thinking we're inventing the wheel, Anyway.
Gary, did you have any, that's all the questions I have. Gary, did you want to add anything else?
What I want to add is I want to thank you one more time for your contribution to all our first responders, to our military men and women, to our men and women working behind the fence with no weapons, with all these hardened criminals. Thank you for what you do. We're going to get your message out on all my social sites. We'll get it everywhere we can. Thank you for the message you're sending America. We just want to tell you from everywhere that we appreciate your help.
Thank you so much. And anything you want me to do to help our first responders, our police, our military, please, I am happy and willing to do it. It's an honor for me to do that.
Well, if you ever get a chance to throw some words in for those folks behind the prison walls, they are just as much in danger as everyone else. We appreciate that.
I understand that because I have visited that in prisons. I see. I've sat when my friend Stephen Chinlin, who was a commissioner of the jails in New York. I went with him, and in fact, I did a lot of celebrity things, celebrity softball games, and played at the prisons too. But I visited and walked through with him through the prisons. So I saw the prisoners, and you start to stand 3 feet away. They're going to spit at you, or what are they going to do? So I did that, and I also was with Joe Apiro in Arizona, and that we walked together throughout his whole tent. So in fact, he made me a deputy too.
Nice. Well, thank you for letting us know that. I appreciate that.
Yes. Anything I can do, I'm happy to do it for you. Thank you so much. God bless you.
I also want to thank you very much for this opportunity. I will be covering this. Hopefully, I'll have the articles done within the next few days. They will be going to the Blue Magazine, which is mostly in the New York City area, and also Law Enforcement Today. But again, I thank you. I'll send you a follow-up email if I have any follow-up questions. You also have my information. And Gary, I'll CC you on those emails as well, so we're on the same page.
Thank you folks very much.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Okay, we'll be in touch. Have a good day now.
God bless.
Likewise.